everybody. Welcome to Office Hours and Chill number 4, where we are going to go and finish up our Boston United adventure while also answering any questions you may have had about the lecture. There are two ways you can do this. You can either pop in on the Zoom call, y'all know the code, or you can ask questions here in the YouTube chat, which I will put here to the side. All right. And if y'all just want to watch and hear my dulcet tones talk about Football Manager, this game that I go absolutely crazy for, then you could be my guest in doing that. The only problem is that, okay, perfect. We are going to check in again and look at Boston United. I made some purchases. I finally found some good players to talk about, and potentially, we're going to watch our first game with Boston United and see how I did. I'm going to put all these new players that I got, and yeah, the game decides to load. I need a new computer again. Mentioned that before, but yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous. I maybe should have had this loaded up before I went live, but no, I don't have to make sense. Yeah, as I mentioned, the lecture we just did was pretty rough and pretty hectic. So throw your questions here in the chat, and we'll go over periodically and answer them and discuss them as best I can. And if not, we'll talk a little more about Darkness Anew, which has quite a bit in terms of quotable lines that bear talking about. And so I wanted to pull out a couple of these lines that I found were really interesting. Let me pull it up. There's quite a bit here. Here we go. So I mentioned this line about Gandhi that is mentioned here in Darkness Anew. But there's a reflection of that line in which he says, you should imitate. He says, the greatest temptation for the revolutionary is to renounce violence, to repent, to make peace with oneself and the world. Most great revolutionaries fell before this temptation, from Spartacus to Danton and Dostoevsky. They are the classical form of betrayal of the cause. The temptations of God were always more dangerous to mankind than those of Satan. As long as chaos dominates the world, God is an anachronism. And every compromise made with one's own conscience is perfidy. When that accursed inner voice speaks to you, hold your hands over your ears. Again, further on, he says, up until now, all revolutions have been made by moralizing dilettantes. They were always in good faith and perished because of their dilettantism. We, for the first time, are consequent. Yes, said Rubishov, so consequent that in the interest of a just distribution of land, we deliberately let die of starvation 5 million farmers and their families in 1 year. So consequent were we in the liberation of human beings from the shackles of industrial exploitation that we sent about 10 million people to do forced labor in the Arctic regions and the jungles of the East, under conditions similar to those of antique galley slaves. So consequent that to settle a difference of opinion, we know only one argument: death. Whether it was a matter of submarines, manure, or the party line to be followed in Indochina. Our engineers work with a constant knowledge that an error in calculation may take them to the prison, or worse, the scaffold. The higher officials in our administration ruin and destroy their subordinates because they know that they will be held responsible for the slightest slip and be destroyed themselves. Our poets settle discussions on questions of style by denunciations to the secret police, because the expressionists consider the naturalistic style counter-revolutionary, and vice versa. Acting consequentially in the interests of the coming generations, we have laid such terrible privations on the present one that its average length of life is shortened by a quarter. In order to defend the existence of this country, we have had to take exceptional measures and make transition stage laws which are at every point contrary to the goals of the revolution. The people's standard of life is lower than it was before the revolution. The labor conditions are harder. The discipline is more inhuman. The piecework drudgery worse than in colonial countries with native coolies. We have lowered the age limit for capital punishment down to 12 years old. Our sexual laws are more narrow-minded than those of England. Our leader worship more Byzantine than those of reactionary dictatorships. Our press and our schools cultivate chauvinism, militarism, dogmatism, conformism, and ignorance. The arbitrary power of the government is unlimited and unexampled in history. Freedom of the press, of opinion, and of movement are as thoroughly exterminated as though the proclamation of the rights of man had never been. We have built up the most gigantic police apparatus, with informers made a national institution, with the most refined scientific system of physical and mental torture. We whip the groaning masses of this country towards a theoretical future happiness, which only we can see. For the energies of this generation are exhausted. They were spent in the revolution. For this generation is bled, white, and there is nothing left of it but a moaning, numbing, apathetic lump of sacrificial flesh. Those are the consequences of our consequentialness. You call it vivisection morality? To me, something it seems though the experimenters had torn the skin off the victim and left it standing with bare tissues, muscles, and nerves. Well, and what of it? Said Ivanov happily. Don't you find it wonderful? Has anything more wonderful ever happened in history? We are tearing off the old skin of mankind and giving it a new one. That is not the occupation for people with weak nerves. But there was at once a time when it filled you with enthusiasm. What has changed you, that you are now as pernickety as an old maid? Rubashov wanted to answer, since I have heard Bogrov call out my name. But he knew that this answer did not make sense, so he answered instead, to continue with the same metaphor. I see the flayed body of this generation, but I see no trace of the new one. We all thought one could treat history like experiments in physics. The difference is that in physics, one can repeat the experiment 1,000 times, but in history only once. Danton and Saint-Just can be sent to the scaffold only once. And if it should turn out that the big submarines would after all been the right thing, Comrade Bogrov would not come to life again. I'm going to read a little more of this later on, but for now, let's go through the new players that I brought in on FM20. So let's go to transfers and to transfer history. Sort by date. So I was able to figure out the payroll situation, and I was able to bring in 5 really, really good players for this level. Like I'm rather proud of myself. The first one is this guy here, Alassane Meite. Very good striker, rather fast, good finishing, first touch, and heading, which is like the big 3 you want your strikers to have. 19 years old, former Leicester City, so speaks English fluently, former Premier League player. And if we were to compare him to Jay Rollins, our captain, as you can see, better in every single way except mentally, but we're working on that. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Player number 2 is Milan Bars. Now, remember how this guy I was sort of unsure about because I didn't want to pay his gigantic wages? Well, he was able, I guess this usually happens in FM when players are out of a club for a while. He lowered his salary demands by quite a bit. And now, significantly more affordable, rather fast, good potential to grow. He's also 19 years old. Good technique and first touch. Crossing is good for this level. Good flair, good determination, off the ball, rather good. Yeah, he's a good player, good winger. And because he's either footed, can play both on the left and the right equally as well, which is an important thing. It gives me some flexibility. Third player is Amara Jalasi. Now, if you thought Mete was good, this guy is even better. This guy is 18 years old, can play in the hole, and we're going to look at, as soon as I saw this guy, even though I was planning on playing with a 5-3-2, I changed my mind because this guy has it. Whatever it is, he's got it. He's 18 years old, definitely could improve by quite a bit. French player, former Monaco player, although he never played for them. Youth prospect. And we'll see how the formation changed because of that. The chat, Jeremy wants to know, what is this? Well, I was doing office hours, and last time I did office hours, I was playing Football Manager and talking about it with some students, and so I figured, let's keep doing that. That can be a thing. So that's what we're doing. I just finished reading some quotes from Darkness at Noon, and while the game is going, I'll probably read a couple more sort of Darkness at Noon chat. Stick around. This is mainly for my entertainment, but it can be for yours too. So third player I brought in was fourth player. I'm sorry, Lewis Dunn. Ismail says, Zoom is an unsafe app to be using, boss. Be careful with it. Actually, we should be good. I have set up a waiting room now. So like people have to request to join some of these streams, especially because I'm live streaming to YouTube. But yeah, so far I have yet to be Zoom bombed. So, and if it is, I mean, we'll use something else. We could probably go back to OBS if I absolutely have to. I don't imagine it being a problem. Anyway, Lewis Dunn. I brought in Lewis Dunn for a rather simple reason, in that he's cheap. He's going to be in center mid for us. My problem beforehand was I had no real good players that could pass the ball, for lack of a better word. Rather bad at with like just pure passing and vision stat for this level. Like, this guy has 12 passing. My previous best in the middle of the park had 7. So I needed someone who could like move the ball around rather well. Oh, hey, Jason. Welcome to Office Hours and Chill. Yeah, the useful thing with Lewis Dunn is if I look at his contract, how much I'm paying him, I am paying him peanuts. I should probably go to prison for this because I'm only paying him $9 grand a year, which is not good. Not good at all. And the last player I have coming in is a Brazilian called Denilson Carvalho. Now, at this level in the amateur leagues of English football, there is no reason why I should have a British guy. Jason raised his hand. Yes, Jason, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
What is this?
I'm dreaming on YouTube. First of all.
What's up?
I'm dreaming on YouTube.
Oh, okay. What's up?
Yeah. I don't know. I was quite shocked by the last revelation of the lecture that we just had because I've been taking concurrently. I have 5 other classes, so this is my 6th class, and I have taken
do you sleep?
No, I don't sleep well.
Okay. All right. What's up?
And I've been taking like intro to sociology, interpersonal communication, intercultural communication, and English classes, and I've been kind of sucked into this class conflict kind of worldview of looking at things. Like I went on Chapo Trap House on Reddit and stuff like
Okay.
that, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense. Like I recognize that this is just one way of looking at history. For example, you could have gone like a totally fascist route and
Right.
talked about the different races throughout Europe warring and stuff like that, and trying to prove a point of which race is superior and stuff like that. But you chose to bring it in through like a class conflict lens, right? The communist Karl Marx kind of lens. And I'm kind of, I just took a shower and I was kind of reevaluating all the things that I just learned, because when I was writing all those essays and stuff like that and talking about when I had different discussions in different classes and stuff like that, I was like quick to bring up like the interpretation of class and all that stuff, you know, with income inequality.
You bought into
politics.
it. You bought into it, but that's not a bad thing. That was like, I mean, what I mean to say is you don't feel bad for, you know, I don't want to say drinking the Kool-Aid because that makes it seem like it's a negative thing. But what I'm saying is like, I intentionally and purposefully did this as a class experiment because I knew that a lot of you guys would get sucked into this understanding of how history works, right?
Yes.
And it leads, the moral of the story is that when you read Darkness at Noon and you realize that I learned history and now view history the same way each person in this book views history, especially like the bad guys in this book view history. You know, that is the point where you take a step back and you have to self-reflect a little bit, right? I think that's the problem here, and that's why I give Darkness at Noon and why I stress, like, of all of the 3 books that you read, this one's the most important, because it's not to say that everything we said in class was wrong, but that everything we said in class was skewed to make a certain narrative.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
There is a line here. I literally have a I have highlighted this book to hell, but let's see here. Hold up. I'm trying to find it. Shoot. Of course, the one time I need it, I can't find it. Essentially, it goes, it doesn't matter if we're, the line I think goes something along the lines of, it doesn't matter that we were right if we cannot get people to agree with us. Right? If even if we are right, but we go about being right in the wrong way, it's as if we were wrong. Right? And you know, what's fascinating about Rubishov's criticisms of the party is not so much that he stops being a communist. He is still a communist. To the day they kill him, he's a communist. But he takes such an issue with the way the Stalinists have approached killing, have approached this sort of, he takes issue with how blasé they are with doing and saying awful things in the name of it's for the movement, it's for the greater good.
Right.
You know?
Lost sight.
Yeah, it's the fact that these people openly say, you know, in order to reach the quote unquote promised land, we have to subject ourselves and others to increasingly worse conditions. And we have to accept that we're going to have, you know, concentration camps and labor camps, and we're going to disavow everything we claim to believe in because eventually we're going to get there. That's not the right way, according to Rubishov.
Do you agree with that?
I think so. Yeah, I think I find Rubashov's criticisms rather compelling, and bear in mind, Rubashov is just a mouthpiece for Kessler in this book, right? And Kessler himself is not a a right winger either. Kessler is a socialist too. You know, Kessler is similar to the way Orwell writes in '84 about how he hates these socialist republics essentially becoming dictatorships, even though he is himself a socialist, right?
Yeah.
Part of the issue. I'm trying to. Where is this fucking quote? I'm so pissed that I can't find it. Here we go. No, wrong quote. Sorry.
It's all good.
Here we go. If you have the book in front of you, in my copy at least, it's page 59.
I have a PDF.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I'm not going to ask you where you found the PDF, but okay.
Of course.
Yeah. Christian channel.
Not a lot of libraries open nowadays.
Yeah. He says, look, the cause of our party's defectiveness must be found. All of our principles were right, but our results were wrong. There's a diseased century, and we diagnose the disease and its causes with a microscopic exactness and accuracy. But wherever we applied the healing knife, a new sore would appear. Our will was hard and pure. We should have been loved by the people, but they hated us. Why are we so odious and detested? We brought you the truth, and in our mouth it sounded like a lie. We brought you freedom, and it looks in our hands like a whip. We brought you the living life, and where our voices heard, the trees wither, there is a rustling of dry leaves. We brought you a promise of the future, but our tongue stammered and barked at you. Essentially what he's saying is, even if you're right, but the way you go about it brings you nothing but being hated and being detested, how can you claim to be the standard bearer for history? And the way they speak about history in this sort of like religious overtones, capital H history, they speak of themselves and their role in history almost in the same way. If you guys remember back to lecture 2, the Dictatus Papae, and like the way the Pope talks about himself and his relation to God and to papal power. It's a similar way. The party has never been wrong, nor will it ever be wrong, right? We are the only ones who can truly understand capital H history. It's the same thing, right? And that is very dangerous. If you go again, page 84, when he's talking with Ivanov in the first hearing, he says, at that time we were called the party of the plebs. What did others know of history? Passing ribbles, little eddies, and breaking waves. They wondered at the changing forms of the surface, but could not explain them. But we had descended into its depths, into the formless anonymous masses, which at all times constituted the substance of history. And we were the first to discover her laws of motion. We discovered the laws of inertia, of the slow changing of her molecular structure, of her sudden eruptions. That was the greatness of our doctrine. The Jacobins were moralists. We were empirics. We dug into the primeval mud of history, and there we found her laws. We knew more than ever men have known about mankind. And that is why our revolution succeeded. And now you have gone and buried it all again. This is Rubashov talking to Ivanov. Then later, as he says, everything is buried. The men, their wisdom, and their hopes. You killed the we, you destroyed it. Do you really maintain that the masses are still behind you? Other usurpers in Europe understand what he's talking about here. Who do you think the other usurpers in Europe are who claim to speak for the masses?
The Nazis, right?
The fascists, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Other usurpers in Europe pretend the same thing with as much right as you. Forgive my pompousness, but you believe the people are still behind you. It bears you dumb and resigned as it bears others in other countries, but there is no response in its depths. The masses have become deaf and dumb again. The the great silent X of history, indifferent as the sea carrying the ships. Every passing light is reflected on its surface, but underneath, darkness and silence. A long time ago, we stirred up the depths, but now that is over. In other words, in those days, we made history, and now we make politics. That's the difference. This is what this is the issue. I think the point of this class and the point of the whole like month-long setup of this whole thing was to say that I taught you Stalinist history. And the fact that Stalinist history was so compelling is because like there is some truth to the narrative.
Right.
But the truth to the narrative means nothing if you then use that narrative to justify things like killing babies. If you use that narrative to throw children into tanks and say that's okay because it's stopping Hitler.
Should he have let those tanks just roll into Moscow?
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that the moment you say this is okay, you're lost. Right? The moment you accept that to be a morally, like, not just like a thing we have to do, but we don't like it, but it's something that is morally acceptable.
And they think nothing of it.
And think, yeah, exactly. And to think this is not a problem, that this is something that we should embrace as, as a badge of honor. We are the Stalinists. Morals be damned. Morals are a luxury that capitalism makes up to hold us back. The Ivanovs and Glutkins of the world literally say that, right? That the minute you give up the revolutionary spirit to your own consciousness, you're lost. The temptations of God were more dangerous for mankind than those of Satan. Who talks like that?
True.
Right? And this is the problem. As long as chaos dominates the world, God is an anachronism. And every compromise with one's own conscience is evil. When that accursed inner voice speaks to you, hold your hands over your ears. It means nothing to be right if this is how you believe being right is. And I think that's the problem, and that's sort of the point of the class.
Earlier on in the week, I read a quote from, I think it was Dick Cheney, who was George Bush's vice president.
I'm aware of who Dick Cheney is. Yeah.
And one of the quotes was that during like the aftermath of 9/11, CIA in the United States used a lot of advanced enhanced interrogation tactics against like Muslim people who they thought might have been terrorists.
Yeah.
Like one of the shocking statistics was almost 25% or 1 in 4 were basically found to be innocent or they had no compelling evidence against them. And Dick Cheney said that that was okay and that was a
well, I mean, look, I don't want
perfectly acceptable thing.
That is I mean, look, I am not going to use a history class at the very least to talk about Dick Cheney necessarily. However, if you are interested, I think I mentioned this in class. We are so at MCC, or at least I am scheduled to. It made it past college assembly, and it should be on the schedule. In the fall, I am teaching an international relations course.
Right.
One of the things that I will be teaching is neoconservatism, about the mentality of neoconservatism, and how
I know of neoliberalism. I don't know of neoconservatism.
Well, I mean, shameless plug. Take the class. Similar style. There will be some overlap as well, but you'll find it interesting. Very briefly, let me go through this formation real quick because I'm gonna click submit team. We're gonna watch a match together.
This is not the first time you've tried to sell your political science class to me.
I sell my political science class to everyone, but that's because like a very bad communist, I am very much a salesman here. Step right up, everybody. Come take your poli-sci classes here. All right, so we're gonna play with Alassane Meite up here up front. New guys. Essentially, all of my new players are on the pitch except for Denilson Carvalho here. We have Meite up front, Bars on the left, Roland's on the right, Gelasi in the hole. Heslop and Dunn are going to play box-to-box midfielder, so Heslop is going to go up and down, and Dunn is going to spray balls out occasionally. Back four of Burns, Shields, Garner, and Jackson. I mentioned in the first office hours and chill where I did this. I need new fullbacks, like urgently. Like Jackson here is not good at his job. Neither am I, so I'm one to talk. But you know, I need new fullbacks here, so that's going to be a priority. I have some people I'm looking to bring in on loan. Part of the problem is that I don't have any money, which is both true in game and in real life. So let's submit team, and while the simulation is going, we'll talk a little more about Darkness at Noon. We will be playing Chester, which is a very, very British team. So I don't know if you guys have ever watched an FM match before, but you're basically on. This is not FIFA. FIFA, you actively play. This is more of a, you watch it, and you can make changes mid-game. They're going to
looks more like a spreadsheet than a game.
Again, this is soccer for nerds. So it's 4-4-2 here, and I'm playing with 4-2-3-1. We're going to be playing on the wings. We have wing play set up. Pep talk. Let's say go out there and impress me. Wow, fine. Be like that. No particular reaction to the comments. I'm used to that. Teaching. Anyway, all right. Kickoff play. All right. So, turn off sounds. Sounds is off. Yes. Okay. Outstanding. So while that's simulating, let's talk a little bit more about Darkness over here. There's a couple of the quotes that I found fascinating.
In my spare time, I've been watching this YouTube series called Centricide, and I've been kind of digging deeper into like political science and the political theory and stuff like that, and it's played for laughs and it's completely satire, but what I found over there was kind of telling,
I mean, look, this is, I don't teach Darkness and Noon to sell you guys on a particular political opinion. I don't want you guys to feel like that's what I'm doing.
The dangers of extremism
was more, well, it's more a lesson about yourselves. And because before the class started, I guarantee you almost every single person in the class would have said, yeah, Stalin was a bad dude, much like Corn Pop. And I nearly scored that, god damn it. But here we are in April, and I got you guys to agree with Stalin on a lot of things. And that's problematic because it was not that difficult to sell you on Stalinism.
Yeah.
And that is what should worry you. It's not so much that if I said something specific in class that may have made you think, oh yeah, I mean, this kind of makes some sense. Well, of course, some of it kind of makes some sense. Otherwise, no one would have agreed with Stalin at all, right?
Right.
The fact that in every single class, overwhelmingly, when presented the debate about the NEP, I have yet to have a class not vote for Stalin, and it's not usually close. And
for the record, I voted for number 2.
Okay, well, congratulations. You would have ended up like Rubashov.
Dead.
Yeah. Like, part of the issue is most people in my classes end up voting for Stalin. They vote for option number 3, socialism in one country. And they don't, in that moment, like that should start to be the giveaway. But most people don't, they don't. They roll with it. They say, oh, I did what the Russians did. That's funny. After, again, also voting for killing the Tsar's family. I think that, that's sort of the issue here. I wanted to read one more quote, and then I'm going to put Darkness at Noon away. This is during the second hearing, page 151.
151.
151. And Ivanov is talking to Rubishov. And Ivanov says, "Why then do you want me to go? Why don't you answer the question that I asked?" He bent forward and looked at Rubishov mockingly in the face. And then he said slowly, emphasizing each word, "Because you are afraid of me. Because my way of thinking of arguing is your own way of arguing and thinking. You are afraid of the echo inside your own head. In a moment, you will be calling out, 'Get thee behind me, Satan.'" Rubishov did not answer. He was walking to and fro by the window in front of Ivanov. He felt helpless and incapable of a clear argument. His consciousness of guilt, which Ivanov called a moral exaltation, could not be expressed in a logical formula. It lay in the realm of the grammatical fiction. At the same time, each sentence spoken by Ivanov did in fact evoke an echo in him. He felt he ought never have let himself be drawn into this discussion. He felt as if he were on a smooth, slanting plane, one which he slid down irresistibly. "Apage Satanas," repeated Ivanov, and poured himself out another glass. In the old days, temptation was of carnal nature. Now it takes the form of pure reason. The values change. I would like to write a passion play in which God and the devil dispute for the soul of St. Rubishov. And after a life of sin, St. Rubishov has turned to God, and to God with the double chin of industrial liberalism and the charity of Salvation Army suits. Satan, on the contrary, is thin and is ascetic, and a fanatical devotee of logic. He reads Machiavelli and Ignatius of Loyola, Marx, and Hegel. He is cold and unmerciful to mankind, out of a kind of mathematical mercifulness. He is damned always to do that which is most repugnant to him, to become a slaughterer in order to abolish slaughtering, sacrifice lambs so that no more lambs may be slaughtered, to whip people with knots that they may learn not to let themselves be whipped, to strip himself of every single scruple in the name of a higher scrupulousness, and to challenge the hatred of mankind because of his love for it, an abstract and geometric love. Apage Satanas, Comrade Rubishov, prefers to become a martyr. The communists of the liberal press who hated him during his lifetime will sanctify him after his death. He has discovered a conscience, and a conscience renders one as unfit for the revolution as a double chin. Conscience eats through the brain like a cancer, until the whole of the gray matter is devoured. Satan is beaten and withdrawn, but don't imagine that he grinds his teeth and spits fire in his fury. He shrugs his shoulders. He is thin and ascetic. He has seen many weaken and creep out of his ranks with pompous pretexts. This is, in a word, Rubishov here is talking about how appealing this sort of, quote, voice of reason communism can be, right? The sort of voice of reason, he calls it the voice of Satan on some level, but Ivanov embraces that. He doesn't say, "Oh no, don't say that's me. That's not me. That's not who I am. That's not who we are. We're the voice of history." Right? It takes a peculiar kind of person to, when accused of being similar to Satan, say, "Well, in that case, Satan was right." Right? That's not a normal way of approaching things. So it is halftime here, by the way. I did not pay attention. What were the stats like? We were the much better team, but we just have not been able to put it in the back of the net. So I'm going to say assertive, and I'm far from pleased. We should be winning this easy. A couple of players reacted negatively to the comments. Similarly to today's lecture, I'm not going to lie to you. All right, start the second half. All right, hopefully we can win this and move on. But yes, Darkness at Noon was, and I hope that answered your questions on it. This is, again, I mean this to put your mind at ease. Don't be too harsh on yourself. You were far from the only person to fall for this and to feel bad about this. I have been told by a student once that I'm the reason they have trust issues. So don't worry about it too much.
I think the sad part was that when I first heard it, I tried to defend it.
Yeah, of course. Because but that's normal. Like your first gut reaction is to say, well, that's not true. You're wrong. You must be wrong. How else can I defend the indefensible positions that I took? Right?
Right.
Clearly you are wrong. And again, this was all hypothetical. So the positions weren't really indefensible. But I think the point is now you get it. Like similarly to how
you cut out. Similar to how.
Sorry about that, guys. The internet cut out. Share screen.
It cut out after similarly to.
Yeah, sorry. No, my internet completely cut out. Okay. So as I was saying, yes. Yeah. I am a genius at this game. Anyway, look, students have asked for generations, right? How is it possible that smart people in Germany could listen to this, listen to Hitler, someone who was saying some atrocious things, and say, I agree with that. I like that. Or at the very least, not find it so important that, not find it that they would actively oppose it. And instead, we did the same thing with Stalin, right? Like the things Stalin and Stalinists are proposing are equally as reprehensible. Like murdering the Tsar and his family, being literal baby killers, is not a morally acceptable position to take. But we defended it, and we said there was a logic and there was a sense to it. Similar thing. Where'd my mouse go? Why am I not sharing? You share. Here we go. Share. Okay. Anyway, I think that's part of the issue, right? I think the issue is similar debate is happening with Stalin. And again, similar questions get asked. How were the Russian people, many of them smart and educated, especially the revolutionaries in the party, vote for this guy? And the answer is, well, we saw how. Because, oh, come on. Damn it. All right. Let's make some changes here. Hold up. What do we do here?
呢度有係啊。
你唔使焗啦，你放 microwave 咪係咯。
我就係想食芝士，因為人哋可以。
Let's take off Rollins. Rollins has done nothing. We're gonna put in Dylan Carvalho again, and we're gonna play him as Jason. I muted you for a sec because you guys were talking. So when you're ready to come back, just unmute yourself. Confirm. All right. No, watch Rollins as soon as I've done this. Okay, never mind. He's done nothing. Okay. Uh-huh. Nelson Carvalho. Come on. Let's go attack and have him win this game. Come on. Come on. Shouts. Come on, y'all.
Professor, I'm gonna be making dinner now.
Okay. All righty. Sounds good. Talk to you soon. All right. All right. Come on. All right. Pause. All right. We need to win this, and like we're getting no highlights here. Nothing is going on. Let's put 3 at the back. And look, we gotta win. We gotta win. There's nothing to it. We're gonna put bars. Oh, am I going to do this? Hey, Dominic Knowles. Yeah, let's do this. There we go. And we're also going to play in the advanced forward position. All right. Come on. Completely unbalanced formation, but we got to win it. All right. Burn, Carvalho. In the middle for Dunn. Come on. Through ball. Or not. Heslip. Pushes it out wide for Milan Bars. Come on, in the middle. Ah, shoot. Jackson pulls it back. Come on. Okay. Corner. All right, corner. I can work with corner. I can work with corner kick. All right. Carvalho is taking the corner. Puts it in the middle. Atrocious. That was not good. Hey, it's probably going to finish like a draw. Not a huge fan. We got 10 minutes left. Am I satisfied with just a draw? Absolutely not, is the answer. Absolutely not. Luke Shields is dying, apparently. I'm going to take him off for Abbott. And we're going to make a completely lopsided formation. Something like that. All right, and so Heslop is going to play ball winner, support, and Brad Abbott is going to play box to box. All right, let's go for it. Come on. All right, win it back. They have a throw in, but it's near their half. Jackson for Roberts. Roberts pumps it forward to Asante. Forward for Dudley. Oh, no, not like this. Not like this. Come on, win it back. Oof. Lower league football. It is not good. Quality is just not there. Oh. Let's shout at them some more. That usually works. Get creative, guys. Get creative. Come on. There we go. Inspired by the feedback. I am known to be an inspiring person. Heslop passes it to Abbott. Boots it forward to Knowles, who wins it in the air but then doesn't chase it. No commitment. No commitment. Come on. Garner for Abbott. All right, Abbott. Come on, run with it. Out wide to Danielson Carvalho. Puts it in the middle. No one is there. Hey, Roberts. All right, corner kick. Come on. Come on. You do this. Carvalho puts it in the middle. Atrocious corner kick. An atrocious corner kick. This is not a good one. Garner gets it out. Oh, come on. I don't want to lose like this. This is not how I want to lose. This is not how I want to lose. Jackson squares it over the bar. Okay. All right. All right. Come on, highlights. Highlights. All right. Here's Garner. For Knowles. Garner. Don't go back to the keeper. Why would you go back to the keeper? Why? Why would you go back to the keeper? All right. Out for Heslop. Out for Carvalho. Gelasi. Heslop. Out wide for Carvalho again. Offside. Okay. That's not been a good game. I apologize. I have some work here to do. I'm gonna have to do this like off stream probably. Y'all come here for entertainment, and this is not entertainment. This is this rather boring game of soccer. All right, Jackson, come on. Done. Out wide, or that. That works too. For Abbott, Gelasi. Done. Heslop, Gelasi. Carvalho. Come on, run. Oh, God. Not been a good game. Not been a good game. Livesey gets out. Their best player has got to be a defender. Carvalho. That's two crosses, and both of them were atrocious. Garner gets it out wide for Carvalho. Cuts inside for Heslop. Pumps it forward. Come on. Yes! 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 Fuck yeah. All right. Knowles scores it, and now I need to fix this monstrosity that I have made. I'm going to put Carvalho down here. Bars. I don't even know how I'm going to fix this. I'm out of substitutes. Heslop is going to play in the middle, and this is how we're going to play, and you guys are going to like it. Yeah, it's going to have to be like this. It's going to have to be like this. And Garner, you're going to play here like that. Yeah. No, Heslop does not like playing as a defender, and Bars likes playing like a fullback even less. Like this is not good, but doesn't matter. I need to hold this for 3 minutes. 3 minutes and we've won. The most unconvincing fashion possible, but we'll have won. And that's what matters. That's what counts. Points on the board. All right. Dominic Knowles scores that. Here's the replay. So Carvalho cuts inside. Heslop. What a ball by Heslop. I have to say, that was a phenomenal ball forward. That was really, really good. That's some good play, Fidos. All right. Okay. Now, shots. Tighten up. Do not let them score. Carvalho, good job. He's been everywhere. That was a good substitute that I put in there. Knowles for Burton. Okay. All right. Come on. Waste some time. Good job, Carvalho. Out for Gelasi, Carvalho. Out for Knowles. Play speed faster. Match speed to a little too fast. Yes! I missed the goal, but it doesn't matter. Mate scores it, and that's it. Game over. We've won. Let me take a look at it. Again, big ball over. Yep, done. Out for Mate. Ah, wonderful. Good ball. Good ball. Good, yeah, gets ahead in front of the keeper. 3-1. I'm not going to complain. Actually, I am going to complain a little bit because this was, again, not overly convincing, but I'll take it. First. Out for Taylor. Asante. I nearly conceded that. Oh, come on. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. So this guy Asante is good. Yeah, non-contract. Can I buy him? He is on a contract, and he is making way too much money that I can afford. And interesting career. He's been all over the place. In England, at least. Good. All right, come on, get it out of there. Ref, blow the whistle. It's over. It's over. Game over. Come on. Game over. Call it a day. We're done here. There's the final whistle. Okay. First match, first win as a manager. Okay. Pretty convincing. Well, not overly convincing. We were like 1-1 until the 91st minute. Not a great struggle to perform. Denilson Carvalho at a 6.5. I don't know about that. He was pretty important on the goal that changed everything. So I'm gonna a little too hard on it. Anyway, very nice victory, guys. Well done. All right. First win for the Western Civ 2 Boston United stream. I don't know what we're calling these, but yeah, I think we're going to call it a day, guys. I got nothing else to talk about. We talked about Darkness at Noon at length. Tomorrow night is 1917 discussion. And we're going to talk a little bit about Max because there's a lot to be said there. Quality of possession provides victory. I mean, if I do say so myself. So I think on that note, guys, you have a good one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.